Forget about the Premier League. It is over. It's done with Manchester City, our champions. The Champions League is in a couple of weeks' time. And today we will talk about the oldest cup competition in the world, the FA Cup. First played in 1871. And Mark O'Hare, we probably won't be able to remember that one. But I think like me, you've had some good memories of the FA Cup throughout your childhood.
Yeah, I grew up with the FA Cup being quite a showpiece event in the early '90s. It has lost a bit of prestige in the later years, and I have to admit it's not a date I look to in the diary these days. But when Saturday rolls around, I think all eyes will be on Wembley, and quite rightly too.
Yeah, and let's have a look at the all-important betting. Of course, unsurprisingly, Manchester City currently available at 1.24. Watford at 15.0, 7.1 is the draw. It's all 90 minutes, of course. The handicap, which should be fairly popular on Saturday, it suggests, is Watford plus 1.75 on the Asian handicap, and the total is 3. Mark, let's start with Manchester City first. I think, we've thrown a lot of superlatives at them this year. They seem to be breaking every type of metric that's going. 1.75 even on the handicap. Is there any kind of value here, or what's your kind of thoughts on Manchester City coming into Saturday?
Yeah, I think City. I think the odds available on City are quite reflective of where they are as a team. They're going for an unprecedented domestic treble, never been done before in an English game. And if you look purely at their Premier League results since the start of last season, 100 points last year, 98 this time, finished the season with 14 straight league wins, which is remarkable in itself. 64 league wins from 6, lost just 6 times, 84% win ratio. Scored 3 goals or more in over half of their Premier League games in that sample too. So these are the kind of numbers that nobody else is matching. And if you look at that Premier League win ratio since the start of last season, it does imply odds of around 1.2.
Lost there for a second, Mark. The perils of live broadcast. Well, I think Mark was making a good point there.
But City are in a league of their own. I think you can make a very strong case for City -3.
Oh, we lost you, Mark, but you're back with us now from the land of the dead. So you're back in the land of the living. We lost you for a second, Mark. But I think we were making the point about Manchester City, just their general metrics. There's a bit of a delay now, Mark, is there? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can hear you now,
yeah, we're all good. Look, Mark, that is the beauty of Twitter Live and Facebook Live and YouTube. Very easy with the podcast, you can edit out all this stuff. But we lost you a bit there. But you're saying just generally about Manchester City's metrics. I mean, there probably won't be another season where we will see this again. They surely have to regress next season, but that will be a discussion for next season for sure. But on Saturday, look, I mean, what do you put into the general hyperbole about it just being a one-off game with a cup final? But with this Manchester City team, it's so hard just to make that case, Mark, because they are 1 in a million, this team.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think the interesting thing from a City perspective is the 4-1 win against Brighton on the final day was only the second time in 15 Premier League games that they'd won by 3 or more goals, which was probably fairly surprising when you consider they won 14 of their last 14. They weren't that impressive against Brighton at Wembley in the semi-final. The Wembley record is good of late, but you just look back to 2013. They lost to Wigan. That's still fresh in the memory, so I'm sure they'll be, all set up and ready to go for this one. But they are so far ahead of everyone else, even including Liverpool. If you look at the data, they're having 1.5 shots more per game inside the penalty area than Liverpool. The league average is 7.5. City are averaging 11.68. They're the only team in the Premier League averaging over 2 expected goals per game as well, and their XG from open play ratio is 82%. Just phenomenal statistics, which nobody can live with them, really.
Speaking of the opposition on Saturday, so, I mean, while they may have not got that many shocks against the top kind of 6 teams, Watford, they haven't been found wanting in these bigger games. They haven't been, blown out. And how much of that do you put down to their head coach, Javi Gracia?
I put everything down to it to be Javi Gracia. I love that guy. He's a fantastic coach. Followed him in Spain with Malaga, and he's taken that on to Watford too. But it's quite easy to look at raw results and see that they've won 1 of the last 6, tailed off towards the end. But this is only their second ever cup final. It's a huge occasion, so I've got no qualms with them sort of refocusing towards this match rather than the Premier League. Survival was secured. Highest Premier League finish, best points tally ever. The loyalty is really there, but even in the team that they set up or will take to City, there's Dini and Deulofeu who will cause plenty of problems. Dini with his physicality, Deulofeu's a big game player, got great set piece delivery too. In midfield, Decore and Capu will really intimidate that City team out of possession. with their physicality too. And Holebas has been allowed to play as well. Set piece delivery key there as well. But yeah, as you say, just took the 1 point from 12 games against the Big Six, but that doesn't tell the full story. They scored in 7 of those games, only lost by 3 or more goals on 3 occasions, 2 of which were against Liverpool. And it kind of lends me to what Gracia did with Malaga in Spain against the Big Three. His teams have been very, very competitive. Look at the results against Atletico, Barcelona, and Real Madrid, as well as Watford's results against the Big Six. 3 wins, 4 draws, 17 defeats. Yeah, that's a 71% loss rate. But 10 of those defeats were by just 1 goal. Only 3 of those defeats were by 3 goals or more too. And I think that's a testament to his ability to set us up as underdogs, be competitive, and really enjoy and relish this battle. They'll be up for it for sure.
Absolutely. He's a very shrewd operator, as Gracia, as you said. Mark, let's talk about the betting angles here, because I do know earlier on the week you were kind of loving the fact that maybe you might be able to get Manchester City -1.5 here. But the way the line has moved at the moment, it's -1.75 at 1.88. Now, you can also back -2 at 2.08. -1.75. Obviously, we're going to see a whole lot of money with Manchester City because they are the popular team here. Like, I don't think it's a major push to go from -1.5 to -1.75. Mark, for you, I presume it's not really, even though it's half stakes.
Yeah, it's not really. I mean, the line is perfectly set to me, really. If you're going to make money for City winning by 2 or more goals, I think you'd take it, wouldn't you? But as soon as it gets to 2, that's when I kind of want to step away and look more towards the Watford side. If I'm being greedy, I'd want Watford 2.25, but probably not going to be possible. Because if you look at the data and what City have achieved in the last 2 seasons, they won by 3 or more goals 18 times last season, compared to 10 this time, which is a downturn. That's still a hit rate of 24%, which isn't great, really. If you're backing things reasonably close and competitive, but it does get interesting when you look at the sort of 2-goal margin. City have done that, or won by 2 goals or more in 23 times this season, 22 times last season. Very consistently, they're around about the 60% mark overall. So I think that's the quandary there about the line. Do you take City -1.75, which is appealing, or do you try and get Watford 2.25? I think there's something in between. Matchbook have offered a market for winning margin, which is one of my favourite markets in these kind of situations. City beat Watford home and away by 1 goal and 2 goals respectively in the league campaign. Now, all the data, numbers and presumptions we can make seems to be that it's going to be something similar on Saturday. So I think the smartest play is to actually back 2 selections here, which is back City to win by exactly 1 goal and back City to win by exactly 2 goals as separate selections. If you head online, find a Dutching calculator, you're going to get around 3-1 at least on either selection. So if you back both, you're essentially getting a 5-4 shot on either bet winning, which is really appealing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you can find that Dutch and calculator. I think Odds Checker have a pretty good one. So if we just Dutch those ones, Mark, say if we have 50 quid on both sides, I think it pays 2.15, which is pretty appetizing. And with Dutching is generally used for horse racing markets with a big field if you want to pick 2 or 3 selections. But it makes a lot of sense, Mark, when you can just get that plus money. Like, you're not. It's very hard to Dutch when you maybe get 1.9, but 2.15 is pretty appetizing there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at FA Cup finals, they're genuinely quite low-scoring affairs, and I can't see City cutting loose in this game. We talked about Watford and their ability to stay tight in these matches, but FA Cup finals over the last 20 years, the average goals per game is 2.1, which is well below the sort of 2.7 Premier League average during the same time frame. Now, I know the final is normally contested by 2 teams of quite similar high-level quality, which probably isn't the case here. City are quite clearly the better team, but even still, those 20 FA Cup finals, 17 went under 3.5 goals, 12 went under 2.5, and 9 actually went under 1.5 as well. So, there's a strong case here, sort of suggesting City do win this match, but they don't win it by a riot at least.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of a Dutching option there, and you can find that those markets under winning margin is just below half-time, full-time markets. Mark, anything on the goals here? 3 is the total. 2.06 is the under, so slightly favouring the under at 1.86. Anything here for you on the goals?
Nothing major. I would tend to be with the under. 10 of Watford's 12 against the Big Six this season went under 3.5. They haven't kept clean sheet though in 10 of those saw BTTS. I mentioned they saw in 7 of those 12 games against the Big Six. They do have a threat, and we have seen with City they have been sometimes a bit vulnerable to a bit of physicality, especially from set pieces too. But I think I'm probably being a bit greedy by looking towards the under three and a quarter goal line for something else here. I think it's quite appealing out of all the goals markets, but my sort of main plays here are the City by 1 and City by 2.
That sounds like a good plan, Dutching plan. Mark, we'll get you out of here soon, mate, because we've had a couple of technical difficulties. I think it's better that we exit stage left at this stage just before the gremlins come back and get us. Thanks for joining me, mate. And don't forget, if you haven't got a Matchbook account and you would like to sign up, we have a £10 risk-free bet offer. Full details of that can be found at offer.matchbook.com. And don't forget to gamble responsibly at all times. And enjoy the FA Cup final. It should be a good one.